We don't start.
Yes. So yeah, welcome to the Brandfather experience, and I've been looking forward to having this conversation with you.
Thank you. It's a
And
privilege to be here.
yes, I'm happy that more than ready. Yes. So outside, you seem like a very reserved person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at least
From perception.
from a distant perception, there's this very reserved countenance that you have, like someone who checks the room before they even say whatever they have to say. But like when you actually get to say what you have to say, like you can tell that there's substance and there is no shying away from your need to express yourself like you just did. So I'm wondering if people that know you very well know you as like the very expressive person in the room or the silent observer. Which one do you think more people would know you as?
I think people know me as the silent observer, but the rabble rouser. I don't know if you understand. I observe, like I'm usually a very quiet person.
Okay.
Not quiet. You can't be like a person the not quiet, but I'm introverted by nature.
Okay.
So I observe a lot. I don't just talk. I don't just some people just enter a room and that's just the life of the party. I envy them, not me. I would enter and I would look at everybody. I'll be calm and until I see someone or something to warm up to.
Okay.
But once I do and I see some sort of reason to understand, if I can understand something, I will question it to the last. So that's why I said that it could be both ends of the coin for me, like that.
Okay.
But usually everybody knows that I'm not the life of the party. I'm the life of the party, but I'm not the life of the party.
I see.
Yeah.
So it depends on the context you find yourself in.
Yeah.
So that will determine whether you're very expressive or just observing. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Well, as a child, I'm wondering, what is the earliest memory that you can trace to your creative spark?
I mean, it has always been there. I think one of the earliest would be, I have a scar on my hand. I've been there since I was like 3 years old.
Okay.
And it was because I was...
And it's still evident?
Yes, it was stitched. It was stitched. And it's been there since I was 3 years old. I'm going to be 35 next, so it's been here since for like 32 years now.
Okay.
And I think curiosity has always been my thing. I'm always very curious, and I picked up a blade. I wanted to sharpen a pencil. Normally you just see people, you want to use a pencil, your mom sharpens it for you, your dad sharpens it for you.
Yes.
And they were not at home, and I wanted to write. And I just picked it up and I started, and before I just slashed my hand. God saved me that my uncle was around at this, so he just took me to the pharmacy and stitched it up like that. That's an early sign. That was an early sign of curiosity.
Okay.
And I think my parents picked it up and they loaded me with a lot of books and anything I needed. Like, I have newspaper in the house. It's like this, as I did age 10, 12, I'll sit down in front of them and I'll just be reading newspaper. Reading. Do you understand that? Even adults don't like reading newspapers. Like, I just pile them up. I
can't relate at all.
They just pile them up there and I'm just reading newspapers like that. And it feels like my happy place. Because I just take in information. I want to know what's happening with this. But I think the earliest strong memory of me actually having a creative was I was around 8. And my uncle told me, I always told him I wanted to write in their newspaper. And he had the newspaper I was working for there.
Okay.
And told me that I had an opportunity which was a lie eventually, that I had an opportunity that there's a column on their stuff that is for pen pals. So they put me up for it. So I wrote that I was looking for a pen pal. I wrote it like I was the one that wrote it that my name is da 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 da. I'm in primary, so I need a pen pal from anywhere all over the world. Pen pals were the thing then, like that. Eventually, they now said somebody wrote back. So I was getting letters from a pen pal. I now found out later that it was this my egbon that was actually the one writing me back. But it just
what was he trying to do?
No, it's actually just, I feel like sometimes some of these things, so it just keeps our imagination
alive. Yeah.
Father Christmas, this is not Father Christmas. Santa Claus is not I don't know, it's not a real thing.
Yes.
But it keeps the imagination of children alive.
Yes.
So it's not vanity or whatnot, but we kill imagination quickly.
Yeah.
But all these things, I feel like it helped me to continue being an imaginative person. So I think that was what he was trying to achieve, and get me to read more, get me to write, and all of those kind of things. So from there, I knew that I could write. From there, I knew I could try, I could write. When I read African series and all of that, I wanted to emulate those guys and write like them because of stuff like that, which I eventually did down the line, and led me to where I am today. So I think that was like the first.
That makes a lot of sense because I'm thinking now, as a 10-year-old or younger, reading newspaper, what would have been happening to your mind in terms compared to your contemporaries at the time? Because you are learning copywriting, you're picking on copywriting, you're picking on words, you're learning how to make sense and communicate. You're learning visual communication also to an extent. You're seeing cultural and political substance. So you're on a completely different level.
Yeah. So I feel like because I was not even introverted as a child. I was shy. It was bad. One of the reasons my parents went to drop me in boarding house was because how long I come eat that yo. No, they were just because they would tell me that come and go to this person. My mom was my first business mentor. So I used to be I was one of our first major. No, I was not first, but I was one of our longest serving. What's it called now?
Prodigy.
No, not prodigy. It's Moshisheni. It was working.
Apprentice.
No, I don't call it apprentice. Store manager or stuff like that. Because I served for a long time. That was one of the first places. But she would tell me then that come and go to this madam. Come and collect the money from her. I'll tell her that I can't go. Not because I was trying to be rude or
you're just too shy.
I'm just like,
you can't imagine.
I'm like, what would I tell her? No, see. It's not just to go there and talk to her and say, give me this thing. So that was the kind of person I was. So I went to boarding house and some of those had to change, of course, because you
have to wake up.
My best friend in boarding house was direct opposite of me.
I see.
If you know the one way you tell her, say, he won't tell you, say, bro. So me, I'm just quiet. And it was just like the Banya and Don Jazzy kind of situation. Okay. At the end of the day, I picked from him and started making. I'm still not at the ITE when it comes to being expressive.
Yeah.
But at least I found my way to wiggle around those things. But then, why I used to keep myself down or those periods was that all this information I took in, I knew a lot. So even when I was in boarding house, I think my brain was one of the things that actually saved me from a whole lot of other things.
How do you mean?
So, for example, I was in GSS2 and they were going to beat everybody in the room. A senior was going to beat everybody in the room. And it was like that he's not going to beat anybody that can sing My Car from beginning to the end. Tony Tetula.
You don't eat my car.
He just came out that period. He just came out that period. That was
what kind of bully is that?
It's boarding house.
Yes.
People are just crazy. And I just read what's this thing? Then this lyrics book.
Lyrics book. Yeah.
I saw it in the room there actually, and I just read it a few days before that, and I sang it, and it freed me. So those kind of situations happen a lot. Like they need an answer to something. I have a solution for it. They need something, and now that we're talking about it now, it's as a result of the fact that I've been able to imagine myself in many situations.
Okay.
Imagination is wilder than the average child at that age, and I think that would also come from the kind of things that I had immersed myself in without me even knowing that those kind of things.
You had so much to build on and to build with.
Yes.
Yeah. So your mind could, do so much
that I didn't even know that.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So now you've done fashion, you've done furniture, and like you're very much in the faith-based space. Very much.
I'm everywhere.
Everywhere. Everywhere. So what's the thread that ties like everything that you do together right now?
I'm the thread though. Let me be the thread. So but everything for me is linked to one simple thing, which is that when I say this thing, sometimes even me in my head, I'm like, she can even so it will make sense, because I've always been a buff for the African story. And if you look at everything that I've done or that I do, they all tie back to that African story. So look at the names of my brands, for example.
Yeah.
Alaga. Even if you look down to Alaga's the furniture collections that we make, they all tell a story of something or somewhere. So we have a chair called Agbantara. It's Agbantara, like it's a reclining chair. It's
for
a
old
typical
people.
chair, but it's just now modernized.
Yeah.
Like it's modernized to be comfortable for the modern person to put in their space.
Yeah.
But still carries the ethos of the old design, which is the typical Agbantara design. And the idea of Agbantara is for you to be able to rest your old body. Most people that sit on it are older people and all of that. So that's one. There's a particular furniture I was showing you the other time that I said Chimamanda got. It's a collection also, and it's called the Oshuka collection. The Oshuka has that spiralish thing where you do, and so we conceptualize the chair to follow the Oshuka. That spiral, Oshuka carries load, so that chair carries you as load, like that. And we did that also, and I was surprised that some people that we were born in Nigeria together, born in this Lagos together, don't know what an Oshuka is. I'm serious.
And they are Yoruba people.
Like Yoruba, like I was shocked. She speaks Yoruba, but you now find out that
she has never
our realities are different.
Our realities
for me, you go tell me Oshuka, you know how many times I carry water from my head. And there are a lot of people like, if you say Oshuka, even people that are non-Yoruba that grew up around that, they understand that. Well, she was like, what's Oshuka? I was like, that thing you put in between your
load and your head,
water or whatever you're carrying on your head, that like serves as a cushion. Say, I never carried water for it before. I said, I understand.
Now why?
Now I understand. So this kind of stories, this kind of simple anecdotes are very important to actually preserve the African story. If you notice that back in the day also, the way stories are preserved are either through word of mouth or in things like this. So this is the same idea for me. So that's furniture. Same thing with fashion, Tasholu.
Okay.
It's a short form of Agun Tasholu. Do you understand? So
Agun Tasholu.
Tasholu.
Is that something they called you?
Yeah. People say that, when you're tall.
Okay.
When you're tall and that that means you are fit for the
clothing.
So that's that also. The Streetchurch there, which is also taking the cultural context of the African and turning it into faith-based stuff.
Okay.
And that came off of the fact that I grew up in church. My parents are pastors.
Okay.
But trust me, it was all of the things I learned up until maybe my 25, 26th year on earth. They were things I just new.
Innately.
No, I won't even call it. I think they were just theoretical to me.
Okay.
You know, you when you know the theory, you feel like you know it,
Yeah.
but you don't know it because knowing is very different from
Experience.
from understanding.
Yes.
Like I just know. I know
Yes.
these things are but do you understand how the apple works? How it works? So up to that point, it was just a knowing for me, and I knew that if you have faith like a mustard seed, but do I understand that context well? Because I don't even know what a mustard seed looks like. Do you know? I've never seen it before.
I've seen one before.
Yeah, I've never seen it before. I've never interacted with it before.
Yeah, so you can't.
It's
that
not
is not
contextual
for you.
But if you tell me, I feel like an agbalumo seed, I understand it better because I know what an agbalumo seed looks like.
Yeah.
I know that after you finish eating agbalumo, you know what the size looks like. That means that if you put that seed back into the ground, it gives you more agbalumo. Yeah. It makes more sense in my head in that way. So this was the core of my whole
faith-based
which was
content.
That I don't understand this thing. Can you hear me? It's not your culture. It's not my culture.
Yeah.
So how do I understand the scriptures in
my context?
And that was what built Streetchurch. And you see, I said that what ties everything together for me is always the African story.
The African story.
I believe that Africa and Africans, it's in our stories, it's in our creativity that we'd actually become the world power that we need to be.
Yeah.
We actually not the world power that we need to be is not us actually trying to take tanks and whatnot to fight or to war. I feel like it's like a woman's power where you have to submit to it. You have to submit to that femininity of the woman because there's just an allure to them. There's a nurturing to them. Yeah. That kind of thing like that. Africa is the nurturing bedrock for the world. But we've allowed ourselves to be trampled over and over again that we don't actually now see that. Instead, we now turn ourselves into like
imitation.
With like beggars, like receivers when we are the ones that actually give to the world in the first place. So I feel like in us actually elevating our stories, in us actually, so if you see me doing any other thing in tomorrow, because I'm a man of plenty expressions, and I can decide to go into film or something else, is to further push this same narrative that the African story is actually deeper than what it is, and we should understand ourselves. When we understand ourselves and who we are, it's now easier for us to actually say we'll take on the world. But right now, we are living other people's stories of us, other people's idea of us. That's what we're living, and which is a big problem. There's no how somebody will tell you who you are, and you would live higher than what that person says you are, except you find yourself. So pretty much that's what ties everything together.
That's very interesting. I think it makes absolute sense how you've like described it. I have a couple of follow-ups on different things that you've talked about, but before that, do you see yourself becoming a, say, minister of culture, for instance?
Well, I've seen myself become a governor. I've seen myself become a vice president.
Okay.
I've seen myself become those. I said vice president for a reason.
Oh, really? Why vice president?
I don't just know. I just think that I do better
behind the scene.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
I do better if it's harder in Nigeria now because it's politics that I'm talking about. But I've kind of seen it that you could actually be pulling the strings heavily for people, and the person that is there
things are happening
up front is actually
looking better.
He's even marshalling those things to happen like that. But in Nigeria it's harder. Everybody just wants to be the president and all of that. It's not bad. I can be that too. I don't think it's a bad thing. But I feel like when the pressure of that me needing to perform is not on me.
It's not on you. You do better.
Yes.
That's excellent.
I don't like being in the...
Please, when you want to run, let me know. Yes, because I'm just thinking, with what you have described now, I'm just imagining that's the mindset of someone in that office, for
Yeah.
instance, and not just theoretically, like you said, like in a practical way. And you've done things to demonstrate that we have a story, we have our own essence
Yeah.
and value to give to the world, and we need to like
Keen on it.
key into it
That's why
as
I'm angry. I'm angry at Burna Boy because even though people say that what he's saying is true, which is, I don't know if you saw the rant like a couple of weeks ago where he talked about that Nigerian music does not pay per se, like the streaming numbers
okay.
they don't pay, that you should focus on other things or something like that. It was just, it was quite condescending. It kind of, it's,
diminishes.
there's this word I'm looking for. It's not a word, it's an expression that they call those slaves that they call them, I've forgotten now. Those slaves that they've elevated a bit.
Yes.
That they've now gotten into the masters.
Yes.
What's it called? But they've made you like a master slave.
A master slave.
But you are still a slave.
Yes.
You are still a slave.
Yes.
So it feels like those kind of people, you know, the way they behave, they now be like, I'm superior to you guys.
They are happy with their superior position.
But they not knowing that
solidarity
they need to use that to actually free the other slaves.
Yes.
And then the slaves take what is rightfully theirs.
Yes.
And then move. Because you're saying that you should focus on other things because you feel like you are doing good out there.
Yeah.
To those people that are actually making us stay the way we are. Like this. And whereas when it came to your turn, when you wanted to fight for your bold
you were supported.
When you wanted to fight for your bold font, that my name is not, I'm an African giant, and they changed it for you. Look at the ripple effect of that. Now, more Nigerians, more African artists go to shows like Coachella, and they don't put their names in small font.
Yeah.
They elevate them because someone spoke. So I expected same kind of consistency in how you actually think and push these things. The African story is not just writing fiction or literature; it's in all of the elements. It's in these soft powers that we actually have: music, film, the art in itself, and all of those things, fashion, and all of those things. And that's why I delve into those things to understand how those places work. So if we're able to, for example, use our fashion, which is a thing now, take our fashion and sip it into UK culture, sip it into American culture. Somebody said something to me some time ago. Is a big leader, pastor as well. He was saying it to us as a group actually. And it was like, do you know that Nigeria has a higher chance of being a world power than China?
Oh yeah.
I said, I kind of have the same sentiment, but I didn't see it that way, the way he said it. It was like, look at China. They are very closed with the things they do. Their fashion is not permeating
accessible.
Culture. Their food maybe, but it's not permeating culture. Like it's not.
It's on its own.
It's on its own.
It's not being integrated. It's just
like I want to eat Chinese.
Yes.
Their what's it called? Their music. No. Their film. No. Now, look at America. Do you know that these things are actually what they are using to hold the world down? Their film, their music, their fashion. Everybody in the world has a fashion piece from. They want to dress American.
Yeah.
Even people in Seoul, people everywhere in the world.
Even in remote village in Africa,
American.
Wearing Nike.
Exactly. You own something that is American.
Yes.
At least one thing.
Yes.
Now, or even if it's not one thing, you own a concept that is American. Now, they have all of these things. Nigeria also now is making that kind of advancement.
Yeah.
Our music is everywhere.
Yes,
our films everywhere. Even though we've not, that has not taken off like the music.
Yeah.
But it's still penetrating places. Our fashion. Is already getting there. It's already becoming a thing. I was watching one movie yesterday, and this white woman was wearing it was part of the set. I checked the credits. You see a Nigerian as part of the costume. I look at films. When I watch films, I look at Hollywood
All
films.
those things.
I look at those details. I see a lot of Nigerian names in all of these things. But you say that you see these things. Our food is already making that thing. So people want to eat jollof rice.
Jollof rice.
They want to try fufu. They want to try. Do you understand those things? Those things now are. It means that people are trying to buy into your culture. Then you don't make them feel bad about it. You have to accept them because it's culture that people buy that you can actually use to own them.
You can leverage.
It's not. You should not tighten. You should not close your culture, and that's what the American dream is. You can
anybody everywhere.
That's how it is. So I know that one day, I know a lot of people are catching up to this concept of the African story and why it's important for us to continually push that story. But I think a whole lot more people need to see the African brand beyond just what we see it as an impoverished nation and all of that, or as an impoverished continent. Rather, we should see it as a continent abundant with both natural resources and human resources. Because the estimations for our population in the next 50 years is going to blow all the way up. And while the advanced countries, as it were, they are declining. So that means that we have a whole lot of things that we can actually offer the world. I wish that we had governments that actually had sense. I'm not sorry to say it. I wish that we did have, and I think they do have sense actually. They are just obtuse or wicked.
Yeah. Their priorities are completely...
because these people are smart. But the smartness has entered cunningness instead of smartness. So, I mean,
I see.
It is weird.
So I guess there's this theory I have. I've discussed this with one of my friends many times about Africa and the African culture. And it's this idea that we are very conceptual. Like we are very deep when it comes to like making sense of like story, myths and all of that. But we are not driven by excellence. So you would see that in, say, someone is trying to make, I mean, like there are people that are driving for excellence now in modern day where you see, you know, someone making music and then they are doing it at the highest level, like on a global level of furniture, for instance. But like, I was using a table that a local craftsman had made. And then it was not balanced. But like, it was nice. Just like on a conceptual level, it's a nice, if you take a picture of it, you would appreciate it. But like, when it comes to like the science of, okay, how do you make sure this is durable, this is actually comfortable, and it works and can last? It looks like we always come behind in the intelligence of things. So, but what is your experience in that regard? Do you think it's okay for us to just focus on this, you know, ability to tell story and be expressive and all of that?
I think as you're asking me these questions, I'm just realizing that I've actually put myself in situations that can help me answer these questions well.
Okay.
With very good context.
Okay.
And I like the fact you use furniture as an example. Yes, we can be very conceptual, but I think that let me answer the question directly first. Okay. I don't think we should just be telling stories without actually having results for it or having stuff to back up those things that we're actually pushing. I totally agree to that, but we also now need to find ways to elevate our people to not be in poverty mentality always, or to not be in survival mode always. So I've worked with furniture companies. Trust me, I've worked with furniture guys. That one is going over saying furniture guys, carpenters, and upholsterers, and the 360 that has to do with furniture. Okay. I've worked with everybody, and I think this was one thing that in 2020, 2021, I started trying to raise. I tried to do it, turn Alaga into a proper startup.
Mm.
And I had an idea. I'm not going to share the idea yet, but let me just keep the conversation going. But just to show you that I kind of know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
Is that most of these guys are racing against time.
Mm.
This is what I mean. You go to a furniture guy, I want to do this table. He'll tell you it will take 2 weeks to do the table.
Mm.
And you tell him that how much is it? And he tells you it's 100K. It tells you that this table is 100K. Knowing that if he goes over that amount, you will not buy.
Mm.
Now, the table is 100K, and at the end of the day, this guy is making 15K off of that table.
That 100K.
Even that 15K safe is shaking.
Mm.
Now, is it that 15K that he's going to use for 2 weeks in Nigeria to feed his family? Think about that. Now, because I can't use 15K to feed my family, I have given him this furniture. You come back and say, Bami Baile, no, Kobamishe. How many weeks is it going to take? 2 weeks again. So yeah, I've taken this table, that chair, this chair. I've told all of you 2 weeks. And that's about 6 furniture pieces I've taken. And on all those furniture pieces, I'm making 15K. Now, I'm comfortable that I have money that I can be able to feed my family for the 2 weeks. But do I have the manpower to get all of those jobs done in that 2 weeks? Now, because I don't have the manpower, I want to take shortcuts. I want to ensure that at least 3 of those furniture pieces are out. The people that will beat me, let me first get to their own. Then the people that I can beat, I'll take my time. I'm at Dasiri off. Yeah. I'm at Dasiri off or whatever it is. And at the end of the day, they mess everything up.
Mm.
They mess everything up. Do you think that if he had that 2 weeks, he had the right tools, he had the right profit to make on it, do you think he's going to concentrate on making that thing well or not? I saw that as a major problem.
Mm.
Because a lot of times we blame these guys, but it's a poverty problem. A typical, handmade furniture in America sells higher than when you buy retail furniture.
Mm.
Most of the furniture we buy as
mass production,
as retail in Nigeria are supposed to be mass-produced stuff.
Okay.
Then when you go and do a handmade furniture, it's special.
Yes, specialized. It's bespoke,
they will bill you for that specialty. So these are the issues around this thing. So there's no how that people would continue in that system that they are going to progress. It's not going to happen because they need to eat. And in this day and time, in the 90s, into early 2000s even, we had a furniture in my house that my dad bought in, I think, 89 or something. And I don't know, 88 or 89. And we use that furniture. I think it's still somewhere in our house. It's still the carcass is still somewhere there. We use that. Now we spoil them. Like now we eventually spoil them because we didn't. When it got spoiled, we didn't fix it quick, which is a bad behavior by the way. Like that, and we kept it somewhere. But that chair lasted. We're just changing the clothes, and all of that because someone made it well. Then that person had boys that were working with him. Now nobody want to do furniture again. Nobody want to do all these things. Everybody's just Yahoo Street, that kind of thing. So there's a dearth of craftsmanship. Yeah, and there's a higher demand for it. So there's a problem already in this thing. So how do we solve for all these kind of problems? So if we are going to, we are saying stories are important. And this is a story on this one that Nigerian artisans are bad. That is a story, which is something that we need to, that's a narrative that we need to address. And if we are going to address it, there are things like this that we should be addressing now. And how can we now do it that the society has better artistry when it comes to this thing? So it's a what's it called? It's a situation where it's easy to blame the obvious victim, or the obvious culprits, rather, but if you
It's
look
a
at
system
it deeply,
problem.
it's a system problem.
Mm.
If you look at it deeply, it's
Yeah.
a system problem. Yeah.
So the prosperity of the average person ties back into like the quality of their individual output.
Yeah.
Is what you're saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Totally.
That makes a lot of sense. It does. I really cannot wait for. I mean, there are some solutions I think about as well in that regard, but because it's a system problem.
Mm.
It's not something that would be easy for one person to fix.
Yeah, well, like I said, I was running around in 2020, 2021 with an idea I think could solve that.
Okay.
I might just as well just say it really. Yeah. Because you can have ideas, execution is hard. So for me, this was what I thought about it. And if you are going to use my idea, come and talk to me. If you're watching this, talk to me. I have the idea and I have the know-how. My idea was this, that Alaga Collections as a brand is a design company, a design and marketing company. That was the initial idea I had for it.
Okay.
Which was, it's a design and market. It's a design company. It's IKEA.
Yeah.
But for Africa. So in 2012, I was doing my IT somewhere. I studied architecture, and while I was in my IT, I think I only designed 2 buildings or 3. Every other thing I did in my 6 months was design furniture, design toilets, setting, and all those. I hated it so much. I was like, so if I get to school now, I have to do defense. I was now saying I design toilets. But I didn't know that it was actually helping me to
detail oriented.
to even tune in into something.
Okay.
So when I finished designing furniture and all those things, they go to the UK or America IKEA stores, buy them and import them, and they put it in high-end
stores.
No, high-end houses I'm talking about houses in Banana Island. Yeah. So things that are like normal things there, we bring it here and make it into luxury. I was just annoyed in my head. I was just annoyed, like, why are we doing this, that? Why can't we even have this in Nigeria? So I remember I tried mailing IKEA with my old email then. I tried mailing IKEA twice. Well, with what I know now, if IKEA try Nigeria and they don't adopt a Nigerian model, they will fail. Like the way I think that's why they didn't even come to Africa. The only place they're in Africa, I think, is Tunisia and Egypt also, or Morocco, and it's one of those North African countries. So that was where I learned this whole idea of, like, I wanted to make furniture. So my entry point into that is to start using it to tell stories, to get people's attention. But my goal is still that retail side of things. So for me, Alaga is now a design and marketing company. So we design, and we are also a seed funding company. We design furniture. We give it to artisans. So we have these artisans that you sign up. It's just like Uber. You sign up to be an artisan. You don't get to do your own everyday work, but you have a workshop. So we are the ones supplying you the work you're supposed to do. So for a month, you know that you are covered.
You are covered.
You don't need to take any other job outside. And you have your delivery specifications. You cannot miss it. You have delivery specifications where you have to deliver X amount of furniture in. So it's not like you're even giving them plenty things. If we know that it's tool that you are good at, we'll keep you at tools. And we will not give you chairs. If we know that it's chairs that you are good at, we'll keep you at chairs. We'll not give you this thing. So you are solving for 2 things that they know that Ishe Mawa. Ishe Entobale is in Bishewa by be the Oga. So they know that they are going to continually get jobs. They know that we intend to seed fund them as well. So your workshop,
setup,
your whatever you need, we set it up for you. So we continue taking that money out of your what's it called? Whatever we are giving to you for an amount of time. After that, you own your thing. We only just give you jobs and we do the back and forth now. We don't need to take any extra money out of it after that is done. And if you decide to leave us, like maybe you want to go somewhere else, or you want to just do your thing, or you want to give it to
After
your child,
you've paid back.
after you've paid back, peace and love be with you. You can go. Do you understand? That kind of thing. So that's like so when they do those designs, we now get to market them to the Nigerian market.
Okay.
Not even just Nigerian market, Nigeria and neighboring countries like that. So that's the idea. I believe that if we're able to imagine that we're able to get 1,000 artisans in Lagos
that are good,
that can do different things, things as simple as this. That one person, this is the only thing you are doing. But you are in a month, you are doing 1,000, you are doing 2,000, you are doing 5,000 of it in a month. Then why do I need to be running out? And you know that if you do all of these things, you are good. Your family is good. Not just even good as in jail.
You're
but
stable.
You are good. You can pay school fees. You are stable. You solved half of the problem for these guys. And like I said, I've worked with these guys. I practically had a workshop inside Mushin Market. Mushin Market, Amu Market is one of the biggest furniture markets in Nigeria. Wood and all those things. I was inside for months, like working with these guys. And I noticed that the problem they have is just like they are on survival mode. Everybody needs to feed their family. I'm doing a particular center table now. I don't give the word that this center table since almost 4 weeks ago, just to do the legs of this thing. He has just been playing me. I said, "Mo, I need you like mache, ogami, mache, kiniko." He has taken other jobs and he needs to finish them. Why would we say that why is he taking other jobs? Why is he doing it? But how much is he saying on
the work you are giving?
What I give him is about 60K. If he buys material, does everything, eventually maybe he gets, let's even assume he gets 20K. In current Nigeria, how long would that last? With somebody that has maybe, and you know people that are poor, they are the ones that actually have the most children. They can have like 5, 6, like that. How will that take care of those kind of people? So you need to just look at the root problem and how do we solve for this problem? And I feel like things like this, the government obviously is not looking like they have an obligation, but they are not looking like our best option. But we need people that are innovators, that think outside the box. Even America was not built straight on the government's back. It was built on innovators, people's back. So we need people like that. Tech is nice, and I like the fact that we are finteching everything and all of that. But there are a lot of things that our tech needs to go to the ground. You see that those 5 basic human needs. How do we solve for them individually? Food, shelter, what are the other ones like that? How do we solve? How do we use our tech to solve for these things?
Problems at the grassroots?
If we solve those things,
we can do.
There's ease of elevation for people. Like I know that I have somewhere to sleep. That I'm not thinking too much. I have somewhere to sleep. You don't know how much that alone can actually help the psyche of the people. But if agents just give you bill one time like this, you go first say, do I need to leave my father's house? Those kind of things. So if we solve for basic needs first, we can now start looking at the grandiose things, the things that are high level like that. We can't be looking at high level when there's no how that we can. Even though high level itself is not going to scale. That's why we have a lot of things that are failing. A country like UK can afford to do some things because they are already on a high level. They are not thinking
they have immigrants to do the
they are not even thinking about simple things like housing. They have issues
their housing problems.
They have issues, but it's normal that as population increases or decreases or whatever, that there are going to be housing problems. And Milop is mostly urban settlements and all of those kind of things that have those kind of issues. But in Nigeria, we have housing problem. Even in non-urban
village,
we have housing problem. We have light problem. How do we solve for these things? These are the things that always go through my head, and how I want to. Even if you are in entertainment, you're in whatever space it is, it's still
the same thing.
How do we use this tied back to this? How do we use this tied back to this?
Mm.
And is that systemic collaboration,
Yeah.
cross industry collaborations that would help us to scale? You have power, you have a word. I'm Burna Boy. I can speak on things and people will listen to me. And I have an idea that I want to start a furniture company. How do we merge together? And you use your star power, and I use my technical know-how, and we come together and we say, but imagine Burna Boy is the one behind me, and he comes and says, that we are looking for 1,000 furniture guys in Lagos. You have to be good. We are going to put you on a retainer. You have to create the furniture for us because we want to, what's it called? We want to be able to export across Africa. Do you know that we're going to have more than 1,000 in less than
a day?
And we would have a pool to pick from. So these are some things that I think that we need to talk about more. We need to speak on more. I'm also an advocate of us looking inwards. Like, what do we have as Nigerians that we can export to the rest of Africa? We don't even need to export to the rest of the world. Like, export to the rest of Africa. Let them buy from us. If Togo is buying from us, Benin is buying from us, Egypt is buying from us, everybody's buying from us. It's bringing money into our table. Not everything is crude oil. So that is those kind of things. I was reading about cassava. Was it cassava or yam actually?
Okay.
It's yam. Nigeria is the highest producer of yam in the world. Like the person that is second is like, when they say Daniel was better than his peers, that's how it is. We produce like so much. I think it's Cameroon or Ghana that is next. I think it's one of Cameroon or Ghana. I can't remember. It's a long time. It started a long time. And the highest exporter of yam is Ghana. And Ghana is third. I remember Ghana was third then. I don't know if they're still third like that. Let's say Nigeria produces 100. Ghana produces like 30.
So Ghana exports more.
The person that is next produces the person that is second produces like 40. But Ghana exports more yam than Nigeria does. What happens to the yam that we produce? We chop everything. We chop palm.
This reminds me of one headline that Nigeria has eaten its leather industry.
Yeah. Mama. They chop everything.
We consume everything.
And these things just show that we have bad people.
Orientation.
Bad people
in leadership. Yes, true.
We have bad people.
They don't have foresight
I even heard the gist
that
Ghanaians buy yam from Nigeria, take it back to Ghana, package it and export.
Wow.
And they export it and it becomes what it becomes. So who are the people in our own spaces that are making the policies that can ensure that our yam
maximize what we have?
Our yam is not even going to the UK now. It's going to Kenya. It's going to Botswana. It's going to Cote d'Ivoire. It's going to all of these places. We make delicacies out of it that they feel like they need to buy these things. My project I went to Orange Academy that year.
Okay.
And this was where I even knew this start. And in my project for our final project, what they told us to do was Nigerian yam. This is why I knew all these things.
Okay.
Nigerian yam, want to export Nigerian yam to be the biggest export in the world. Draw up a strategy, and I was just thinking that. So a lot of people in my class, they were turning the yam to roasted yam. Some people were turning it into fried yam. Some people were making it to yam flour. All those kind of things. I thought about it that's already a lot of work for the country, and the scalability of it is very, very low. What can we do? How can we export this yam that it becomes a thing? So in my research, I now found out that this thing that we eat in in draw soup or ogbono, is this kind of
there's that
panla-ish.
Okay,
no,
stockfish.
Stockfish.
Yes,
that is in it. I found out that Nigeria does not produce it. We export it from New Zealand. Yes, is it New Zealand? Yes, and we've been exporting it since the 60s.
Wait, what?
Yes, we've been till today. We export
Stockfish.
Every stockfish you eat in Nigeria was brought into the country. Everyone, we don't produce anyone. And let me tell you how it got into the country. Is that during the what's it called? The Biafran War, the people, there was kwashoko, there was a lot of deficiencies and all of that, and they needed, is it protein? I don't know what. Yeah, fat and protein stuff that would at least be like so. These people's aid to Biafra then was that stockfish.
Wow,
that was what they were sending. So after the war, of course, it has become like a
staple,
acquired stuff for them like that, and you will notice that most times that where you can buy those stockfish too is from Igbo people mostly. I know they love other people, but I know growing up,
it's more Eastern.
Even the people that sell it in Lagos,
yes, they're more Eastern.
They are more Eastern people. I know now it's a bit different, and that was how it became like a normal thing for everybody. Like, now it started from the East,
and they are still exporting
till today. Till today.
That's interesting.
So I thought about it that if that's a strategy that is there, that we are not looking at. Nigeria used to have ECOMOG where our soldiers will go to all these countries and go and fight for them, African countries, Liberia. So we'll send soldiers, they'll go and help them to fight insurgents and all those kind of things before Boko Haram took place, and we said, we never even get ourselves. ECOMOG used to be like, or Nigerian arm of ECOMOG used to be like the strongest thing, but Boko Haram don't do all strong things like this. We don't even know what's going to happen. I thought about it that instead of us sending soldiers to all these places, why can't we send our food? Why can't we send yam? It goes to camps in South Sudan, in Sudan, in all these places. After the war finished, even before it's going to become something that they long for even after that. It's easier for us to export into all of these places. I don't think anybody thinks in lateral lines like this. I feel like the brand Nigeria in itself, the brand Nigeria is not it needs personal branding. I don't know. I don't know if
Nigeria definitely needs
personal branding.
Proper brand.
We don't know what we are doing.
Yes. We don't have an identity.
We do. We have an identity.
We do have an identity. We just don't have a coherent front.
That's it. The identity of any outlet.
Yes.
That's what we have. We do things anyhow. So that's the kind of idea. So we need a rebrand as well. We need a rebrand, and the rebranding is in itself is not in colors and stuff, but in the
behavior and orientation of the people,
of leadership and all those kind of things like that. So
nice. You studied architecture, but I mean, you're not practicing in the traditional sense. What took you from the drawing board to the multi-dimensional lane?
Is that drawing board gongo? Then architecture was not easy, but I loved it. I love the architecture. I love it actually. I still think that I practice in a way, but not as a designer per se. I mostly consult, help people to make sense of spaces and all of that like that. So I won't say it's not there, but I'm not in it fully because I know that I needed to express in other ways like that. But it gave me a foundation for that. It kind of structured my approach, my creative approach, my creative process, because architecture is practically science and art together, and you being able to merge those helps you. For you to be creative, it helps you systemize things. And all that. But I knew when I was in 200 level, I knew that
I'm not doing this thing.
Not like I'm not doing this thing. No, it's not. It's more like I just realized that I'm going to be somewhere in the media space.
Okay.
Yeah. I was telling somebody some weeks ago that Billy Momodu, I love him a lot. Like, I think that a lot of people, social media is a leveler and it just makes people feel like
everybody is everything.
Like everybody's everything. But there are some people that actually shook the country. And I think Billy Momodu was part of those people that elevated the elite elite lifestyle.
Mm.
You know, I told you I'm a magazine and
Yeah.
newspaper buff. So
Yeah.
me saying Ovation magazine,
Mm.
I was like, what? What's this? Like, I remember I used to even go to all those the newspaper stands
Mm.
to just
To
because
just
my
go
father
and-
does not buy that one.
Yeah.
I just go
You
and
go
read
and read
and
it.
look at. And I remember seeing an image of Dede Fernandez.
Mm.
Yes, he's dead now. Yeah, I think he's dead now. Died a few years back. He's one of the richest men out of Nigeria because he was not. I think he was based in Portugal or
Okay.
an island of Portugal.
Mm.
But he was a rich man, and this one this Ovation did a whole lowdown on him, and I was like, what? It was not the writing alone; it was the grandeurs that they put
Yes.
around this person, like larger than life. You could just imagine what his
Image
house-
making.
Yeah, and he did it for a whole generation.
Wow.
So today, when the man says that he has pictures with this person, you know, we clown him on Twitter that there was a time that they say we are waiting for the model to drop his picture with this person because he knows everybody, and when he tells you he's connected, he's really connected because it was things like what's it called, like that he talked to all these people. Then Dede Fernandez, you know, I think he's one of the people that has the most access to Adenuga. Adenuga is a wind. You can't catch him. You barely ever see him outside.
Yeah.
But he's one of the few people that have access to that man. And he has access to everybody, from Tinubu to Buhari to everybody.
Anybody.
Yes. These are the people that actually pull the strings behind the scene and make things work like that. So I think that year I was just very much into researching. I think it was one of the first people I even followed on Twitter and Instagram. Like, I just wanted to see. I used to tell my roommates then that I want to be like this man.
Wow.
So I knew that in 200 level in architecture. Like, I knew that mommy shop with my buying shit. So yeah, that was my architecture.
That's interesting. So, like, from observing yourself so far, like, what do you consider as the most outstanding thing about you? Like, say something that maybe occurred to you, like, in a very, as a revelation almost, like, this is something maybe I did not know was there, but like,
okay, I did not know was there. It's that, I didn't know was there. I don't want to say something that, what don't I know was there? I think it's the fact that I can actually morph easily. Like, sometimes I'm surprised.
Okay.
It's like I can
adapt to new spaces
very quickly too. Like, I just need to understand. Once I understand and I pick an idea, I would adapt to anything. So, for example, the entertainment space, I've always been a music person. Like, I remember when I was in secondary school and you need to choose between further maths and technical drawing. So I chose further maths first.
Yeah, special.
No, wait now. I chose further maths first. First problem.
Okay.
My further maths teacher was my house master. That was the first problem.
Okay.
Because I cannot have two problems, hostel and class. No, it's not going to happen.
Okay.
And I remember that I failed one quick test that we did. I had flogged those and he didn't allow me here the last one. I was like, I can't do this. Second problem is further maths. It's not even normal maths.
That's why I said you are special. Like, normal maths. Who chooses further maths?
So I just said, please, I need to change it quickly to technical drawing. I didn't know. I studied architecture, but I don't know how to draw. Like
regular artistic drawing.
Yes, I don't know how to draw self. Even the architecture, I have to use lines, guide what I'm doing. And there was one of my lecturers that insulted me one time in class, like, you are studying architecture and you cannot sketch, you cannot do this. I'm like, sir, I can't. I have to use lines to guide what I'm doing. But if you see my handwriting, my handwriting is very nice. But that sketching, I try, I just do whatever it is, but I'm not the best when it comes to that. So technical drawing was not my natural go-to. So, but when I had to run from further maths, I had to go somewhere. And when I got into technical drawing lab. That was the only place that there was radio in our old school.
Mm.
So we listen to music there.
While drawing.
That's the only reason I go to class. That's the class I'm the most consistent in.
Wow.
Technical drawing, I'm there. Even after class, if we go back there, go they draw. See what they draw. But what actually continually took me there was the music.
Mm.
Like listen to and our technical drawing teacher then was a Ghanaian man. He used to wear big jeans, big shirts, drive sports car, and looked very cool like that. So he listens to music too. All this when Two Face came out the second time, when he left Plantation, I chopped all the albums straight for TZ Lab, Style Plus, everything, Twitter, everybody for inside that place, even what's it called? Usher, everything. Like you just be in the studio listening to music. So we're the ones that usually took new music to the hostel. Like we heard this new Jagged Edge. We're the ones that took new music to the hostel. So before everybody now goes home, now comes back and all of those kind of things. Some Paul hit chopping. So music has always been like something I've been interested in. I love it. I read on it and all of that. But I didn't outrightly plan to get into the music and entertainment space like that until like maybe 2 years ago. And the speed at which I have adapted, and not just adapted.
In fact, I thought you've been doing it for much longer.
No, I haven't. I've adapted. I have even climbed the ladder, as it were. It's been so fast, and I feel like if I leave today and go into maybe politics too, it's going to be the same thing. So I find that very fascinating about me, how I quickly adapt to situations and things, new occurrences. It can startle me at first, but I would definitely balance. And if I don't balance like this, not to be wrong.
That's very interesting. The fact that you are. I mean, there are two things that will make me. There's one part of it that I think is understandable. The other part I think is maybe just your nature. The part I think is understandable is I see design as everything, and I see design in everything.
Yeah.
So it's very fundamental. So once you have a good understanding of how things generally work, and you have a sense of a good model of the world, like how people behave, how things happen. You understand business, you can adapt. Business is business. People are people. There are some things that remain constant. You just have to now understand the fundamental of that new space. So maybe that is one thing. Then the fact that you're willing to be a newbie, that willingness is something that might be different.
I think that's what keeps a lot of people
stuck in one place.
And me, I hate being stuck. So if you're not good, if you don't like being stuck, then you have to be ready to be a learner
all the time.
So I think I'm happy.
You prefer to be a learner.
I'm happy to be a learner. I talk to Gen Z guys like 20 years old, 21 years old, and we talk. I want to understand how
their worldview,
how your worldview is.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this music, I don't understand how he take this and what's it saying, and they put me on. They explain it to me like that, and I understand that. I see what you guys are saying. I understand. Fair enough. And from there, I take it and I go and tell my people that this is what I think. This is what I think. I feel like, how do you know this thing?
You're feeding from.
I collect from behind. So is that ability to be able to? Pride is not useful. Pride is not like just raising hand and you don't want to talk to people. It's actually that.
You're unwilling to learn or change your mind about
stuff.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Well, so like you've brought creative excellence to like faith-based space. I mean, with many expressions like what you have with Streetchurch. I mean, for a very long time, I didn't even care about the people behind it, but I was very fascinated and I was like, this is just so brilliant. Like people that were not even Christians typically could engage with him because he just felt very relatable. Yeah. So And it reminds me of something that Taiwo was my last guest.
Oh, yeah.
He said something like, no matter what it is that you're doing, at some point, there's going to be an intersection with culture.
Yeah.
Right? I think you agree with that.
Yeah.
But like, how do you, especially with faith, right? It looks like it's a lot more dicey compared to any other thing. If no matter what I'm trying to do business, I mean, that's why many businesses have brands. They're trying to find, a soft spot in culture and relevance in culture so that they can draw sentiment. Yeah. But like with faith, it's a lot more tricky. And so how did you navigate that complexity? Or was it even something you considered?
This faith thing, if I told you that I didn't want to have anything to do with faith-based income, like I told you my parents are pastors, like I practically grew up in church.
Yeah.
And it's nobody say na CAC. So I was in church Monday to Sunday, most times. Monday, from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's something happening at every point. And my parents are amazing people. They ensure that you are not just in the line of God, but also grounded as much as possible. Like, I can play some instruments now because of all of those things. I have some understanding of music to a level because of
that background.
That background, like that. But I always told myself I did not want to have anything to do with forefront of faith or religion as well. That because number one, I feel like it just limits you and your creativity and how much you can go.
Yeah.
And number two, for other reasons. I don't want to be there. So for the longest, I shied away from it. I didn't want to be there. But you know how God does these things. I don't want to go into all that. Streetchurch started. I think I mentioned why I started doing it before.
Yeah.
And all that. And it blew up and became what it became. And because of that, life is going like this, but God wants us to go like this and get to where we're going to. And Streetchurch now kind of shifted me into that faith-based conversations a lot and creativity. And one thing I've discovered is that it's we human beings that actually limit
God. We try to limit God.
Limit God and our core beliefs and all the things that we've learned growing up or we hold it on too much and we never want to leave them. I used to be a big proponent of language should be pure. It should be Yoruba is Yoruba. Do you understand? Like it should speak Yoruba in a way that like words like language, do you know what language is? It's corn. But we call it agbado now.
Yes.
We call it, but if you grew up in the 90s like that, you hear them
Oka.
Say Oka. But now we call it Ogi. That kind of thing like that. I always believe that language should be kept in that pure, raw form.
Okay.
But that's you just being, what's it called? Being selfish.
Okay.
This is what I mean. You called it Oka. Then some people are calling it Ogi. Some people are calling it some other things. Do you know that there are some things that happened in between all those things that actually reforms the language?
Yeah.
New cultural context.
Yeah.
New, what's it called? Ideas and ideals. But the thing is that keep the core of the language.
Yeah.
Keep it going. What is the core of Yoruba language? It's sound.
Yeah.
It's do, re, mi.
Yeah.
Mi, re, do. That kind of thing like that. Keep the core going. Keep the, what's it called? The expressiveness of it going like that. But there are things that will continue changing as we are going around. It's same thing with
principle stays the same.
Same thing with faith or religion as well, like that. That we feel like it's as the days of old, that's how we must continue like that. Whereas God has moved away from the days of old where he did and is here in this present situation. With the same ideas and ideals, but different strategies of execution. So we stick to that. And you see, God is the first creative, because the first thing the Bible says is that he created the heavens and the earth. Creation was the first thing. So that means that God continually wants us to continue that creation. Now, as each generation comes, the lines or the understanding of God increases, is expanded. And as is getting expanded, that means that the vocabulary of which you understand God to expands. How you see God to expands. But we want to stick to the God that we knew in 1900s, when what the world knew then was factories and what's it called? Is it
Agrarian.
the mechanization boom of things, where there was all mechanical things.
Yeah.
Everybody was now having factories and all of those kind of things like that. Industrial boom as well. And you are using the same strategies that was used in that time to talk to a person that
did not live in that time.
As AI in the palm of his hand, that you tell me something, I can check it up and be sure that what you are saying is right or wrong.
Yeah.
Like that. It's very hard. I can tell people in that age that God is coming to Mount Sinai, meet me in Mount Sinai, and all of them will flock there. But you tell somebody to say that God is coming to Mount Sinai, some people will still follow you, but most people will tell you that, who tell you say you go even reach Mount Sinai? Say, where did he call you? When did he call you? How did he call? They will question everything.
Yeah.
So you need to be able to understand how to approach. It's not us actually trying to erode the what we know that we stand for with God, or what God stands for, the scriptures stand for.
Yeah.
But it's to present it in a way that in this old the way that the whole world is now so over saturated with information that we stand out with this message of the gospel. And this is where the creativity comes in. Like that. It's harder, but the harder something is, the more creative you can get.
Yeah.
The harder it is, the more creative.
Because you have to find a way around
perfect. And that was why when Streetchurch, when we came out, it became a whole thing, and now we've become a cultural statement. Like it's now like, do it like Streetchurch.
Yeah.
Don't you see those Streetchurch guys and all those kind of things?
So in summary now, do you think, following the line of the conversation we've been having about faith and how, things have to be contextual to people to be able to like influence them, etc. Is the church meant to influence culture, or is culture meant to influence faith?
The church is culture. Faith is culture in itself. So I don't think it's
one or the other. Okay.
I think faith in itself is a lifestyle. So when we say, is the church meant to influence the world, or the world meant to influence the church? The church is living in the world, or the church is in the world, and the world people are in the church. So it's supposed to be
integrated.
It's integrated. Because no matter how we say that, the church should not influence, the world should not influence the church, but it does. It does. Last I checked, most people, pastors, use maybe iPads or stuff, or they're on social media now, trying to reach more people. It was not like that some years back. But today, that's the culture that is.
In fact, some of them preached against it.
Yes, back in the day. But now everybody has fallen in line.
Yes.
Because it's the reality of life. So faith is a lifestyle, and both the church and the happenings, when I say the world now, I mean the secular space would continually influence each other. They would continually, even if you roll it back to the, I won't call it the, what's it called now? The Roman Empire-ish, or when the Catholic Church started, you will notice that they actually had a lot of influence on the secular space. So science, as we see it today, academia, art, there are different art movements that were created by people in the Catholic, church then, or in the Roman Empire as well. Like that, people that a lot of music was created out of those things. So they influenced even the secular space at that point, a whole lot. But nowadays, it's mostly that the church is also coming back to influence how music is done. Even we do it. It's just that the way we see cultural influence is just always different. Most of the people that actually, let's use music for example, that do music now, most of them will tell you that I was once in a choir. Yeah, that's influence. That's
Yeah.
it. We just now need to ensure that even if you're going secular, you're not going immoral.
Okay.
Do you understand? There are two different things.
Yeah.
The opposite of faith is not secular.
Yeah.
Or is the opposite. No, it's not like that. The opposite of faith is immoral, not secular. So secular is not the. So what we are trying to do is to get more faith, people with faith in the secular space, so they can actually influence everyday life.
Okay.
But what is happening is that most people are leaving the church to move into the immoral space as well. So which is where the problem is, where the disparity is. But when you say culture should world influence the church, I think it's a two-way street, and it's going to continue happening till if Jesus comes in this time, is he going to use boat to preach? He's not going to use. He's going to use
take boat.
Yeah. So I think that's how it works. Yeah.
Okay, makes sense. So of all the projects you've worked on, which of them is the closest expression of you as a person?
All of them are expressions. Like most of the things I do come out of my own personal what's it called, looking in, trying to do stuff and all of that. So everything I do comes from. That's why except I'm not, it's not something I want to do for now. I just want to make money off of it, and I will not talk about it. That's when I would say that. But most things I do, or all the things I do, I ensure that they are personal to me. Like they feel personal. That's how I go deep. That's how I feel the pain of what I'm doing, feel the joy and all of that. So I think everything works well. What I'm doing currently is what makes me the happiest at the moment, or it gives me the maximum fulfillment. So
Great. So what environment inspires you the most? Is it chaotic or orderly, or is it nature? Where do you feel the best of you? Like,
it depends on my mood. I can't even lie. It depends on how I feel. Like there was a time I used to move around a lot in buses, bikes, and all that. And I write still. I wrote some of my best short stories moving around. I wrote some stories inside the Danfo bus. Like I type on my phone, blah, blah, blah. I just typed it on my BlackBerry then I do it. And sometimes...
You had a BlackBerry?
Yes, I had a BlackBerry Touch 2. I had 2 of it. So some of those things on... I've done stuff in chaos and I've done stuff in silence. So I won't say that
one or the other.
It depends on what I'm trying. It depends on deadline. It depends on deadline, really. Deadline is the ultimate motivation for me. So it depends. I can lock myself out and just get what I need done anyway.
Great. So at the moment, this is sort of the same question I just asked. Like, are you inspired by beauty more or by brokenness?
I want to answer it in a very funny way. I am inspired by beauty, but I can express heavily by brokenness. I don't know if you understand.
Okay.
So I'm taking things like, I see this, this is so cool. I make it make sense in my head. This is so cool. And one day, in my lowly state, maybe something disappoints, and I just need to let something out of, and so see those beauty I've taken in before, and I'll let them out. So one thing I always tell myself is, when I used to write, I used to ask myself this question: like, what do you want to put into the world? Like, you need to intentionally think about how you put things and what you want to put. And if you notice, all my brands have yellow in them, because yellow is the color of happiness, and you want to continually emanate that into the world. So that's why. So taking beauty, I'm not saying I only produce in with pain, but pain can squeeze things out of you faster. Can squeeze. That's why a lot of writers, they They say some people, or a lot of creators generally, music, film, they say they create their best work when they're heartbroken.
Yeah.
Like that, because pain can squeeze us. So when pain is squeezing, so what is it squeezing out of you?
Yeah.
That's what's
It's what
important.
is inside
It's what's
that
inside you.
it is squeezed out.
So I tend to take in the beauty of life a lot.
Mm.
I like to see places. I like to see things, look at people's minds, how they think, watch movies, all those things. They inspire you and you want to do more. Listen to music. How did this person think about this line? Like the small things, the things that people might not notice, but like I just listen to stuff. This guy pinning these things together. Or I watch a movie, I go and read about the life of the actor. I just want to know about them. I just want to
dive deep.
Yeah, how are you thinking? So when you are in a point and pain comes and it squeezes you, you have a lot of things to actually give out like that. Even the scriptures, as you are taking them in also, it helps you to also make sense of life and you just push it all out like that. So yeah, I think that's my best rap. So I won't just say, I say beauty inspires and pain aspires.
Interesting. So like what is your grand vision now, say for yourself, for Nigeria, or even the creative space in general?
Right now, I have a particular goal in mind right now. And my goal is to create a space that allows creatives to be creatives. That allow them to be creatives. You know, at the beginning I said I'm a creative entrepreneur now.
Yeah.
And it's not a lot of people that can be creative entrepreneurs. Some people are just creative and it's just what it is.
Okay.
So yeah, they need people that can help them to make money off of that creativity. And I think I've gotten to that point now where I know how to put or what to put in place to help these people. So my goal is to create a warehouse type thing that can house different expressions of creativity, from studios to tech hubs to all of those things like that.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do there is to have a flat organization that brings in everything you need to create something in that space. So you want to do anything, you can find it in that space. And I feel like things like that are actually needed in this Nigeria, where innovators can meet entertainers can meet
cross-pollination of ideas
like
and
that.
thinking.
So in my head, that's like the next big thing for me to achieve, for me to do. Not be the achiever, I go there now. So, but it's like the next thing for me, next high level thing that I think I've been moving around talking to people. I believe that the creativity of Africa is what is going to change Africa. That's creativity, and I'm a big proponent of it.
Confident as well, we have to give.
Yes, I'm very confident of it. Very, very confident of it. So I need to do my own part to get that part going. Yeah. So
excellent. So yeah, final. I'm just thinking now that imagine people that look at what you do and they are very inspired and they're like, oh, okay, I like what. Yes, like what advice would you give them? Say if you had to start all over again, how would you have approached things as a younger version of you?
I would just say that fail very early, like fail earlier, fail very fast, and fail early. It helps you to
move on.
It helps you to move on quickly, because I think most times the fear is that a lot of people don't want to fail. It's not like they don't have ideas or grand
vision.
Is that people do not want to fail. I was speaking with my friend last week. She called me. We've been friends we've never seen them, funny enough. But we've been friends for over 10 years now.
Wow. Pen pal.
No, like, yes. So she sent me through my businesses and all of that, and we're just talking, and she was like, one thing I like about you is that you fail fast. Like I fail and move on. Like I've created businesses that people thought it was succeeding, but it wasn't, and I left it and I moved on. And people were like, this thing was, I'm like, it's not working for me. I've moved on. from it. So it's that took me a lot to learn to do, because when I build something, I take it like my baby.
Yeah,
and I don't
it's
want to
very
leave it.
personal.
Yeah, but trust me, you are not one thing. It can be many things. So
Yeah.
don't hold on to failure for too long. Fail fast. Don't hold on to failure for too long, and understand that all the great things that you want to do in life, they are on the other side of fear.
Yeah.
That's your fear of failure, fear of your daddy or your mommy abusing that you failed, because they used to tell you that. I think that helped me, Sha. My parents did not rub failure when you fail on you in your face. You know, some parents do it. Like,
Yes.
when you fail, like, can't you see a Taju? Can't you see this person?
Yeah.
They didn't do that to me. I didn't feel that. So maybe that helped me to understand that, bro, you can fail. You still be fine. That's not the summation of your person. Like that. So I would advise people that fail, just fail early. So it's not like you're planning to fail. It's just that you are trying out things early enough.
Early enough.
You are 2021.
Yeah.
If I had done some things by 2021, I know
that
I would have moved farther, faster.
Mm.
Like I was feeling at things at 28, 29. I was already close, not even close to being like the feel. And it's riskier because now
the stakes are higher.
The stakes are higher.
Yeah.
The expectations are higher. But I just left uni like this, and I already started something, tried something, mentored somewhere, and they've told me that I'm doing rubbish. I'm learning and picking things that you are and that you're not early enough. So yeah, I think that's like one thing that I see when I talk to people, and I always advise them to do: fail early, fail fast, fail quickly, and stand up as fast as you failed.
Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, this is part I will have missed terribly. So this iconic part, right? How did you come up with the iconic label of icon or iconic everything?
Funny enough, I didn't give myself the name.
Interesting.
They didn't give me the name either. This was what happened. So I joined a group in 2010. Was it 2011 actually? I was Twitter. So one of my friends just told me that there's this group, university students, bringing them together. That they want to be like a conscious group, like something like a Ferry, like that, but younger people. So they called it the Integrity Icons. So they mandated all of us that we should put icon in front of our name. So Icon Oreoluwa, icon this, icon that. I'm not sure that group lasted 2 months.
Wow.
For me, my Andrew, I already changed it to Icon Oreoluwa. My everything I already changed. But I didn't change it. I left it that way. And I just, maybe, sometimes things happen, or you think it's for nothing, but it's for you, like that. And I've stopped with it since then, and it has been iconic since then. Everything has always just fallen into iconic.
That's interesting.
Iconic lines and all of that. So yeah, that's how the name came. And now we have built an iconic stuff collective, an entertainment company, and all of that.
Beautiful. I like that I now know the story, because I was like, man, this is some epic thing.
I feel like if I had named myself like Icon, that'd be very corny. Like, who are you? Why are you just to me? From where to where?
But yes, the way it came about. So like the impression it made on me was more of like, wow, like this person first of all is a visionary, and they have the audacity to be very bold about doing things that are exceptional. And
I didn't start using iconic stuff like that line until maybe 2022, and I've had that icon. People call me icon a lot, like guy, you are always doing your name, that kind of thing like that. But I didn't see myself that way up until 2022, 2023, and I started like using iconic stuff only because at that point I had data to back up that. To back that up.
You didn't want to go and call yourself iconic without.
I don't used to do like that. Like if I don't have data to back up something, I would rather not. But I had data. Like, bro, you've actually
You've done stuff,
done stuff.
and
Like,
they are iconic.
you've done stuff.
Yeah.
Somebody tweeted something. I think that was what spurred me to start seeing myself like that. It was 2022, I remember now. So we had just finished. So this was where my management, what's it called, stuff started.
Okay.
So Big Brother, somebody reached out, like I should manage them with Big Brother. And we did manage the person through Big Brother. And they came out as finalists. They didn't win, but they came out as almost the star of that set.
Okay.
And when they left, so on the final day, when they did what's it called? When they did
Their final show.
they did the final show and they did
Award.
handler reviews and all
Okay.
those things. So I put my face out, say, make me say, for example, charisma,
Class.
social currency.
Yeah.
So one of the people that we've been following each other since uni, and he's a senior man now. I call him my mentor, and we were in uni together, and he just tweeted that he said that anything Icon touches always just wants to go. It always just gets better. And people were just retweeting it, and I'm like, now so now they see me. I didn't know like that. So, and some conversations I had after that were just showing that. So I was like, so if you know that this is not you trying to brag, but you know that you don't actually put your hands in things if they're not going to look great, end up being great, then why don't you just make it into
Own
something
it.
that own your narrative and own what it is, and iconic stuff only. Let's do iconic stuff only.
Nice.
Let's do iconic stuff only. And it's beginning to stick.
Yeah.
It's beginning to stick a lot now, and so people come to me also. And I'm like, that like, I want to do iconic stuff. That's why I'm here. Like, I want to do something great. That's why I'm here. And I'm like, me too, I'm looking for audacious brands, people that are interested. I want to do iconic stuff, not people that just want to do. I haven't tweeted once in one time. It comes like I don't be proud. It comes like I don't be proud. I was like, I deleted it after actually. It wasn't Twitter, and I was like, that's for me, that if you want to play small, don't call me. If you want to do iconics, if you want to do big things, call me. For me, I don't know how to think small. If we only do iconic stuff over here, and we were like, oh shit, I deleted it because that's not my nature, really. I'm not that kind
You don't want to be braggadocious.
I'm not kind of, but I noticed that even if you bring something small to me, that this is
you expand
I always expand it. And sometimes many people run away. I'm serious. Like sometimes I'm always like, like I'm always looking at myself.
You own it.
Can't you just leave them
at their level
of what they want and just make money off of it? Because they eventually do it, and they do it the way they wanted to do it, and somebody else makes the money I'm supposed to make off of it. But I'm never satisfied with whatever it is that they do eventually. And I don't tell myself, if I just done it and just made the money and just moved on from this thing. But I know myself very well that that's it. I will never talk about it. I will never ever talk about it. So but the people that eventually stay, we usually have
a longer relationship.
We become partners that do stuff on the longer time. So I don't work with many people. But the people I work with, we work for a longer time. They always want to come around and talk about things. Bro, I'm in London now. And we want to do something like that. I told them that I cannot have this meeting without you being in it. That you're the only one that can actually scale. There's only one person that that matches my energy. Not matches my energy. That even tries to go over my energy most times. And I'm like, who is this guy? And he's an endless ocean.
Wow.
So a lot of people don't give me a run for my money. Like a lot of people don't give me a run for my money.
You're comfortable.
Not like comfortable. I push myself a whole lot. Like I'm always thinking farther. There are two people that actually give me a run for my money. I think he's my pastor and in the social. Like you are thinking A to Z. These are always thinking alpha, beta, Gamma, and I say this, and I'm like,
That's
okay,
interesting.
meet me too in front. So I try to also now go over and beyond, and I like it. I like this
Yeah,
kind of.
you push them, they push you.
Yes. So
At the
it's
end
a
of the day,
perfect synergy.
yeah,
It's
I
a
love
perfect
that.
synergy. But
I see that in all the work that you do.
yeah. So sometimes people say, bro, it's not this
This
person
guy
is
is
crazier than I am. Like
interesting.
it's crazier. He knows exactly. I
What
just
he
at
wants.
some point I'm just like, okay, let me just impute too. Let me impute. Let me say something and all of that. But I
That's
find
nice.
that I have the connection, I have the know-how
Know
to
how
make some of these crazy things
happen.
make them happen
Yeah.
like that. So that's a plus for me.
Okay.
And that's a plus for me. But most times, most people, it's always me trying to drag them up. Trying to drag them up, like, come on, let's do this thing, let's do this thing. So it's always nice when you see people that also, as you are running, like, they are running, so let's be going like that. So that's a thing for me. That's a nice thing.
It's been very beautiful having this conversation with you.
Thank you for having me.
Such an iconic conversation.
Thank you.
Yes.